Western Spring Television. Ours it is. If you check your calendar, you definitely know that today is 10-10-23. Yeah. And that's so significant. And to most of us, whereby 10th, every 10th of October means quite a whole lot to me. And I like to say glory to God Almighty. I want to welcome you especially, as I say good morning to you from wherever you are viewing us from. This is Western Spring Television. Morning Spring is the name of the program. If you're joining us for the very first time, I would like to welcome you most sincerely and thank you for being a part of us. This is where we share quite a whole lot, looking at topical issues and first of all, kicking things off from the dailies, the various dailies that we have with us. It's a loaded package as always, and it promises. And when I say that, it promises to be exciting. Tunde Idowu is my name at Irresistible TD on X. Welcoming you to a special day. Good morning to Femi.
Good morning. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. It's a good time to be alive. You know, life is sacred, as I always say. Thank God for another chance at life as well. Femi Ojo is my name. On this program, just like I said, we look at topical issues, look at the major stories in our major dailies each day, and we are going to do that today. And the other side, at the other side of that, we get talking about issues of public importance. Please do well to follow us on all our social media handles, on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And we are live right now on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Once again, good morning. Good to know that you are always here with us at WSTV, Western Spring Television, the station that says it as it is. You're welcome.
We'll kick things off very shortly after the short break from the dailies. Please don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
All right, we head straight to the headline segment right now. Just like I said earlier, this is where we look at major stories that has found its way to the major dailies today in Nigeria. Today, 10-10-2023, quite instructive day and date it is. And now, we kick it off here from the Punch newspaper. And it reads, boldly written there, federal government denies subsidy return. More fuel stations short. Federal government denies subsidy return. More fuel stations short. Why are fuel stations being short? They should be dispensing fuel ordinarily. So something must have been responsible. And riders, NNPCL blames pockets of fuel queues on road delays. That in inverted commas, pockets of fuel queues. All right, moving on. 25 refinery licenses idle over subsidy, says Kyari. 25 refinery licenses idle over subsidy, says Kyari. And of course, slain lawyer. Lagos MBA welcomes death sentence for killer cop. And then you have the picture there, 3 inserts of the accused who has been sentenced to death. You remember the case of a pregnant lawyer that was shot sometimes, was it last year?
December.
Earlier in the year?
December
last year, yes, December last year. And she died, and then the case has been caught, and pronouncement of death sentence was done yesterday by hanging on the accused. You could see him there covering his face and being whisked away by an officer, and then the slain woman is there. And the NBA Lagos State have welcomed the death sentence for the killer cop Of course, nobody really would say hooray, depending on who you are talking with, by the way, but justice must be served.
Absolutely.
And justice must be seen to be served. And I think this is what has happened in this case. And maybe this will serve as a deterrent for trigger-happy officers who possibly, they might meant it, they might not meant it, but anything that will augur between you and a civilian or you and your colleague, and the next day you want to bring out your rifle and point it at somebody. The question is, why will you point a rifle or a gun at somebody? To prove what?
And I believe 100% that one of the many trainings they got during the period of training is that those are things you don't do except you have been attacked.
Yeah.
And
except it's highly compulsory and necessary.
Yes. Because I look at this lady, this woman who, unfortunately, they've lost her, and this grief will not leave that family, even if it will ever.
A pregnant woman.
A pregnant woman. Why would you? Because it takes you to raise, aim, pull the trigger, and then pull.
We don't say that's the case here, but many of them we've seen on the road when you're traveling.
Yes.
Just because of pack, and then you see the officer. Some of them, unfortunate ones, just aim at the rifle and somebody, and then you are wondering, to what end? What are you aiming at? And when this thing goes off, you now say it's an accidental discharge.
That's an accidental discharge. I don't see that as an accidental discharge. I think
this should serve as a deterrent, and maybe the family will be happy of the slain person. Not really being happy, possibly.
Nobody wishes death for everybody.
For justice
that's just it.
Happened. All right, moving on. Domestic airlines demand jet fuel import license. Forex. That's one of the ways they feel they might have to possibly have a chance at getting their acts together and maybe cutting costs when the airlines have an importation license for themselves, so they don't have to buy from others. Maybe it might come cheaper. I'm talking about Forex as well. And concerns as commercial sex workers invade Lagos malls. Leo men. I saw the story and then I shook my head. Some have found themselves, or possibly that's what they do as sex workers, but then it's like they've left wherever they stay, and possibly business is not booming for them. They find their way to the malls where they can easily get their target. Ayedatiwa drops suit against Ondo Assembly. Akeredolu, what is happening there? You might need your copy of the Punch for today. And at the top strip, Israeli-Hamas conflict. Federal government warns pilgrims against illegal trips. So Lagos suspends airlifting. And with a rider, 310 pilgrims evacuated from Jordan. Death toll nears 1,500 for those possibly wants to go to pilgrimage or who are currently there. This will be a time of apprehension for them and their family members, knowing that what's going on between Israel and Hamas, it's not something to toy with. And then you could see a picture there of billow of smokes up in the air, possibly coming from shellings and continuous shellings that is not really abating, And moving on, 4 consortia to fix dilapidated pipelines. 4 consortia to fix dilapidated pipelines. That's coming from the group managing director of the NNPCL, Mr. Mele Kyari. That will be all from the front page of the Punch for today.
Let me kick my set of headlines from the pages of the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper is what I have here. And you have the headline there that says, Tinubu, I am focused on lifting Nigeria to greatness. That's credited to Mr. President. And you have a couple of writers just below that. It says, SGF briefs president. SGF. That's George Akume, briefs president, and there is stability under APC government, says envoy. And just above that major story there, you have this that headline that says President appoints Fela Durotoye, 4 others as aides. Okay. So congratulations to them there. Other stories there you have world economy incomplete without prosperous Africa. Continent hosts first World Bank IMF meeting in 50 years. That would be great. That would be great. First conference. All right. Other stories still making the rounds on the bottom strip, just below the picture of Mr. President and the SGF there. Banks in 400 billion naira recapitalization drive at stock market. All right. And you have FBN Holdings, Fidelity, Jais, Wema, just so for investors funds. And on the bottom strip, the red strip of that same daily, the Nation newspaper, Southeast Senate caucus renews push for additional ministerial slots. Southeast Senate caucus renews push for additional ministerial slots. Okay. Checking out other stories just beside, to the right-hand side of the daily, the Israel lays siege to Gaza. In the last 48, 72 hours, it's been hectic. It's been, it's not a good story, not a good memory. Over 1,500 dead. 2.3 million to vote in Liberia poll. Okay, and that's the poll. The election has been marred with the campaigns. Has been marred with by fighting, injuring each other, and I wonder why this is so, when those you are actually trying to vote in will be with guards, convoys. Oh my. On the top strip of the same daily, no return to petrol subsidies, says NNPCL. This is common to virtually all the dailies for today. We will export fuel next year. That's credited to the GMD. Speaking there. And Christmas Day killer cop to die by hanging. 3,298 on death row. And EU observers report created wrong impression, says Wiki. EU's observers report created wrong impression. That's credited to the FCT minister there. Guillermo Airlines must pay compensation for flight delays. Okay, that'll be all from the pages of the Nation newspaper for today. If you're interested, please pick a copy at this moment in time.
All right, we'll go straight to the Daily Trust, newspaper for today. All right. Yes, the Daily Trust newspaper, and boldly written there, cooking gas price hits 1,200 naira per kg. That's not a good one to hear. That's not a good news to hear. I knew somebody who was kind of embarrassed at the weekend, possibly wanting to get some, and then getting there to hear this kind of price. And then possibly somebody who wants to have some measure, maybe 12 kg, you get there, you're having a kind of amount, certain amount of money in your hands, and you get there, you see that the only thing you could get for yourself is just like 6 kg because something has just happened. Cooking gas price hit 1,200 naira per kg. Marketers blame supply disruption, says further hike likely. Come on, man. Nigerians may resort to using firewood. Expert. I'm not sure it even takes experts to say anyone that, because as they say around here, body will tell you. Of course, there are so many disadvantages, you know, when you use firewood. It comes with a lot of stress. The whole place is smoky. Man, it's like one returning to the Stone Age, really. But then everybody must survive. That's one of the first laws of life. Survivor. Yeah. Federal government working with NLNG to ramp up supply. Officials wanted to think that a nation like ours, blessed with all kind of resources, natural gas. The bad part is, or the most embarrassing part is the fact that this thing is being flared somewhere just because we can't just do the right thing. Gas is being flared on a daily.
You see, I feel so sad because there are certain things we should tap into. There's so many opportunities. There's so many resources. Nigeria is endowed. Nigeria is blessed.
Sufficiently endowed.
To the extent of intellectual capacity, to that level, Nigeria is blessed.
That's a fact.
But unfortunately, it's been mismanaged.
We are talking about disruption, supply disruption.
Why should we?
Are we talking about rocket science?
Look, all those things being flared. I look at countries of the world where they take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah.
To God be the glory, there's an African country where I know real good, Kenya, precisely. All this plastic bottled water that we drink and then we throw out of the car window, we dump somewhere. They have a factory where they recycle all the, and when you get to see the way these things has been done, see the trailer loads that are waiting to take the new thing, and now look at us. We just take, fling it. There's quite a whole lot.
Although I think there are some, maybe in Lagos, that they are.
Yeah, in Lagos, when you're coming into Lagos.
You know, I think there's a policy by the state, waste to wealth or something, that you just bring in these things and then you are given something in return. But then to think somewhere, as we are talking now, gas is somewhere being flared away in a particular form just because we couldn't just do what is necessary. And we're talking about disruption, and the government are saying they're working with NLNG to ramp up supply. What happens in the middle of all these? All right, we will get serious one day, really, because it's sad you up there in any capacity, you see your people suffering. 1,200 naira, as at maybe last month, can still get you like 2 kg, at least.
As at last night, my family, they needed to get gas. And honestly,
say no more.
Look,
say no more. I feel you.
My eyes went up.
All right, moving on. You have the bold picture there. What is happening? Riot police stand by demonstrators in support of Israel. Show Israeli flags during demonstration in Duisburg. That is happening in Germany. So many demonstrations around the world. Demonstrators take part in a rally in support for the Palestinian people in front of the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires. That's in Argentina. Everybody's, this thing is now like, where do you belong? People take a stand who they are supporting. But we here is about humanity being respected and preserved.
Absolutely.
In all of
That's
this.
it.
Now, Tinubu's economic policy is going awry. That's a report from the Financial Times. Ask a president to stop announcing plans without implementation idea. And many persons have talked about that. Maybe good intentions, maybe not too good, but, make sure you walk everything through.
But putting the cart before the horse.
Because the moment these things are said, the ecosystem reacts to that.
Straight away.
And then people are just in a fix, thinking what is happening, and then the government will come out to explain their good intentions. Your intentions are not feeding people. Look, your intentions are not helping. If you walk through the statistics and figures and policies and structure, firstly, before announcing.
You remember, I looked at Mr. President's body language and composure during the swearing in on the 29th of May 2023, when he said, subsidy is gone. And the atmosphere around that place
reacted. Less than an hour.
Honestly.
And trust us as Nigerians
today
to do what we do, sometimes exploitative. In fact, most times it's exploitative.
It is.
To just say the government has said this. But if the government has said otherwise, to say reduce all these things,
will be
you see people complain. That's the word.
They'll be quarrel.
Yeah. All right, moving on to top street there. Will Liberians elect another female president? Today, the last female president and the first was Erling Johnson Sirleaf,
yes,
followed by
George Weah,
the football, the only man in Africa to have been awarded World Footballer of the Year,
Ballon d'Or,
George Weah, and now history beckons today in Liberia. All the best to them. Fierce scarcity as stations close in Lagos, Kano, others. Definitely, the business atmosphere is not smiling. If a filling station will be closing down, possibly for lack of sales, or possibly for running costs, then you know something is serious that is happening. Because I've seen filling stations saying they can't continue because they don't have power, from the distributors, and now they have to work their gens, fill their gen, and if a filling station is complaining about using fuel for his own generator to dispense fuel,
then what should we
so what becomes of you and I? All right, but it's not something funny, really. This is where people end their living. And so if these firms are closing down, then you know that some persons are losing their jobs. Hunger beckons, and crime is not far from an hungry and angry person.
Just like what you just rightly mentioned here now, that if a filling station will be complaining,
find it difficult to run
the generator
to dispense fuel.
You get to the pump and say, hey Joe, please 1 minute, let's go on the gen. And I wonder, wow. Just like saying power holding, you want to do a business with power holding, you want to pay something to get, hold on, let's go on generator, and there's no, it's...
By the way, it happens. You go to some distributors, electric distributors, and they are powering their equipment with generator from a power holding company, power distributing company. Quite ironic, humorous, but not really good. Security operatives kill 67 bandits, rescue 20 victims in Bauchi. All right, let's keep neutralizing these criminals.
Absolutely.
Let's get them rooted off our lands, but then let's make sure we follow the rules of engagement. That's the way to go. Victims being rescued, that's good news to the heirs. Yeah. But as we always say here, let's make sure they are not even carted away. They are not abducted in the first place, because the trauma is not always easy. That will be all from the front page of the Daily Trust for today.
And quickly, let's check out some of the other headlines making the rounds from Nigerian Tribunes. I'll just flip through it. Most of them carry the same headlines. But then from the pages of Nigerian Tribune, the big bold caption there says, FG no longer paying fuel subsidy.
Okay.
Kyari affirms. A couple of writers associated to that story says, subsidy payment almost bankrupted NNPC. Nigeria will export petrol in 2024. We can wait. And NNPCL, now sole importer of petrol, private companies can't access Forex. Something should be done. Moving further, just below that story, Tinubu appoints Duro Toye, 4 others into media advisory team. 1,000 media advisors can't save you. Atiku's aide tells Tinubu. And ophthalmologist links eating balanced diet to better eye health. Okay. And Senate President's delegation visits Tribune reporters' widow. Yeah, we commiserate as well with them. And you have that picture of smoke, fire ravaging, flames and smoke below during Israeli strike in Gaza yesterday. Wow, my goodness.
You can just imagine everywhere up in flames.
With that kind of smoke, with that kind of fire, where will people be?
And that's continuous shelling of that particular place. By the way, Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu had advised people there, leave.
Because
and I think it's even too late now. Because he told them like 2 days ago, leave this place. And here we go.
Oh, we'll just hope peace can return as soon as possible. ASP Vandi to die by hanging for killing pregnant Lagos lawyer Bolanle Rahim. And impeachment. Abuja court adjourns Aida Atiwa's case till October 16th. Moving just above the major plate there. And it says 99,985 Nigerian students left for UK universities in 5 years. 99,000. That's almost 100. That's credited to the federal government. Presidential election report. Wike knocks European Union. And Igboho reunites with family in Germany. All right. On the top strip there, Nigerians ground as cost of 12.5 kg cooking gas rises by 30%. Wood, charcoal. All right there. Oil prices jump as Israeli-Hamas war raises concern over Middle East tension. That will be all from the pages of the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, and to the Vanguard newspaper. Recall of ambassadors. Envoy stranded as federal government foot drags on implementation. Right, with a couple of riders here, no machinery in motion for envoy's return. Sources say ambassadors yet to receive AIE's cash backing. I want to return without getting my entitlement. Envoy insists. That's quite interesting. Overzealous politicians pressuring and hurting the process. Ambassador Keshi, and note they have destroyed Foreign Affairs Ministry. All right, and you have picture of the president there, Ambassador Yusuf Toga there, and of course Ambassador Joe Keshi. Right, Israel intensifies attack, enforces total blockade of Gaza, cuts power supply, food, fuel, drugs. Hamas threatened to kill hostages, and Shiite back Palestinians. Right? We will break jinx of non-harmonization of database in Nigeria. That's the Interior Minister, Mr. Tunji Ojo. That's one minister that has been talking and maybe doing as well. He has been very vocal about his plans for his ministry and what he's doing part-time.
One can see.
Yes. And diphtheria. Yobe records 117 deaths, 1,796 suspected cases. I think this is one disease that is not taken too seriously, that is not given the desired attention, rather. And it's deadly because it's been recorded 117 persons have died in Yobe State. All right. And in sports, Osimhen's coach and Napoli faces sack. All the best on him. And all of them are the Naples. All right. And is a very interesting one. Is the cartoon angle, Mr. and Mrs. All right. Moving on, because of time, Tinubu appoints Fela Durotoye, 14 others in his media team. EU report, inaccurate reflection of 2023 poll. All right, EU report, inaccurate reflection of 2023 polls that's coming from the FCT minister. Here's some weekend. And at the top strip, Naira, no threat to financial stability, says CBN. My question to you, who spends Naira? In what way are we spending it? What was it meant to achieve in the first place? And it was launched with fanfare, pomp and pageantry. But then many Nigerians, I'm sure more than half of the nation will even tell you they don't know how that works, really. Right? And Warri concert, Davido, organizers at war after non-appearance. There's been this back and forth between David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido's camp, and the organizers of Warri again, Amaju Pinnick, the former NFL boss, about payment and non-appearance of the act. And okay, it's being heard. Davido saying he has told them that he won't be there months before, but the organizers are disagreeing, telling him to bring out, what we call receipts now. Let's see what has happened. All right, JAPA, federal government's OK's engagement of retired health workers on contract basis. We'll get into that very shortly. And petrol subsidy not back. Kyari, NNPCL CEO.
And I guess that will be all from
the Vanguard.
From the Vanguard and some of the headlines that we will have for you at this moment in time. But we'd like to let's bring us back to the fact that every 10th of October of every year is always commemorated as World Mental Day.
Right.
And that is the day is earmarked to create awareness of issues relating to mental health. The theme for this year is mental health is a universal human right. This we'll probably delve into to an extent, but basically as we get into the conversation on the show Morning Spring for today, that aspect, you've actually stated it from the pages of the Vanguard newspaper. Federal government okays engagement of retired health workers on contract basis. Why do we lose the best of hands? What is the statistics of doctors, nurses, professional medical bodies that have left the shores of this great country of ours called Nigeria? Somebody stated, okay, it was our in-house analyst who stated that he had to see his ophthalmologist a couple of days ago, and he had to wait. He got there at about 12. He left about 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
because the number of people who were there to see the doctor was large. What does this portend for Nigeria? Why are we losing our doctors and nurses overseas, up to the point of countries like Sierra Leone, Rwanda, aside looking at the European world? What does this mean? We'll take a look into this on the program Morning Spring. Please stay with us. Don't go nowhere.
As I said earlier, the conversation is about arresting the brain drain situation, especially with the medical practitioners. Yesterday, news had it that the federal government has approved, the recall, if I may call it a recall, of retired medical doctors and nurses to be brought back into service on contract basis to help the situation on ground. When I mean the situation, because many personnel, medical doctors, professional nurses, getting out of the land in droves. It's called Japa syndrome, and it has cut across every sphere of endeavor in Nigeria, from the IT, ICT, engineering, education. Now we're talking about medical practice today, and so many statistics. In fact, as at 2022, it was said that as many as 5,000 doctors have emigrated out of the land. And now there was a time, I think the MDCAN came with particular statistics to say these things are not funny again, because it was even said at a point that more than 500, or the nation has less than 500 specialists that are consultants that are left in the land. Many of them are getting away. And now you think it's just about the UK. It's not about the US. Many of them are still going to the Middle East countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE. But then it gets more interesting. We are losing some of these best brains to our West African neighbors. Gambia, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Ghana. And these are some of the things we'll be talking about today as the program continues. And we have medical practitioners who are here who will be letting us know into what is really going on, to give us a first-hand experience of what we are dealing with here in Nigeria. And I have Dr. Oderide Babatunde. Is a consultant, a family physician with the Uniosun Hospital, University of Osun. Good to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Before we were saying, at least we are seeing you now, and we are happy. Okay. At least for now.
Yes.
Okay. That doesn't sound like a good news. All right. And I have Nurse Oladele Abiodun here with me. He is the chairman of the association, National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, Uniosun chapter. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, let's get talking. The statistics are not friendly. They are not looking nice. I'm sure you might be updated more than I am. If I was said of a particular colleague of ours who was on the show yesterday who said he went to see his ophthalmologist. He got there at 12 p.m. He left 10 p.m. because only an ophthalmologist was attending more than 50 persons. And then you can imagine maybe by 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., you want to measure the efficiency of such a person who is still human. Doctor, tell us, what are we dealing with here? The statistics are not looking good at all. What's going on?
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for bringing us to discuss this very important and something that will very soon become an emergency if nothing has been done. It's a time bomb, and if nothing has been done, it will affect every fabric of the nation because health is wealth. And it's very critical for us to discuss it. You have given us statistics, but it's worse because at present, well, from WHO say we should have like 1 to 600 patients, a doctor to 600. Now at the time we're having a doctor to like 3,000. Now it's going to like 4,000 to handle, and then people are leaving.
Sorry, doctor. The WHO recommended ratio is what?
1 doctor to 600.
600 patients.
Patients.
But as it is
now, now about 1 doctor to about 4,000 patients at present.
That's the reality.
Yes, and at present, in those days, people can migrate from lower level of health, from primary health care to secondary to tertiary. Now tertiary is even looking for doctors, nurses, and they're not getting. Talk less of secondary.
If you can break that one for us.
What I'm saying is that
the primary, secondary,
yes,
tertiary.
We have secondary level like general hospitals and all of that. Primary level like primary health care, and then we have teaching hospitals handling the tertiary level of health care. In those days, people love to move within those levels, and you have more doctors even in tertiary institutions because of good packages and a lot of stuff that is involved. But now, even the tertiary institution, the teaching hospitals are looking for doctors, are looking for nurses. They will put advert now. Some areas in some institutions are closing down because no specialist to handle them. So now you put advert down, you won't see people to come. Even the trainers that are going to train people are moving. Teachers. No, in those days you see talk about students staying around, becoming teachers. Even the teachers that are going to teach now are leaving. And so the stress is on the few ones that are around, and that is giving depression, that's giving a lot increased workload on them. So the problem is enormous and it's expanding on a daily basis. At the time, it was said in recent time that at least UK was licensing like 3 doctors per day. People moving. As I'm talking to you, people are moving.
Of Nigerian origin?
Yes. As I'm talking to you, in fact, last week, 2 of my colleagues left and they are still moving. Whichever way, they're just, some is not even brain drain, some are leading to brain waste, in which they are going there just to get, let me just.
How do you mean brain waste?
For example, brain drain is you moving skilled workers and moving from a particular place to another place, a country to another country. But when you talk about brain waste, you are talking about you not even doing exactly, you not being employed at your maximum potential. You're not doing exactly what you are even trained to do because you just want to jackpot, you just want to escape and get yourself sorted out somehow. So the real work you are trained to do, you are not even doing the skill work in place. Some have left the shore of the country. Some are doing their skill work. Some are even doing something that is not what their skill.
Why do I hear?
Because of a lot of factors that are happening. So it's worse, and we are saying that if nothing is being done very soon, it's going to lead to something that will affect every part of it.
Nurse Olaniro, is it the same thing at your end, or nurses they fare better? At least you guys are here. We see you. We care. At least the doctors have made up their mind, but the nurses are still on ground. Is that the situation?
Thank you very much for having me here.
You're welcome.
It's the same thing with the nurses and other health professionals. Like the standard is a nurse is supposed to take care of like 2 patients or 4, depending on where you work. But now we
That's
see...
the standard recommended ratio?
Yes.
1 to 4?
Yes, or 1 to 2, depending on where you work. It might, if it's in a general place, it can be to 4, like in case of critical care, 1 to 2 in critical care cases.
Per shift?
Yes. Now we have a nurse taking care of 20 patients. So, and you see, like the doctor rightly said, nurses are not spared in this regard. And you know, people will tend to look for a better life for their family, for themselves. So nurses also are living in droves. Really, brain drain has always been with us, but it became a matter of serious concern recently. And I feel the government needs to do something urgently so that this trend will not continue. The same thing everywhere among all health professionals.
Let me get Dr. Ode Rinde. Let's because this question I'll pose to both of you here. Yes, I know you spoke about. Of course, everybody wants to leave. The doctors, medical, you're leaving. But why? What has caused this level? Why are we losing our doctors? With due respect to other countries, most especially African countries, because when you talk about African countries, Nigeria should, other countries such as, when you mention Rwanda, you mention Kenya, you mention Sierra Leone, these are countries that should look up to Nigeria and say, hey, if Nigeria says A, everybody has to follow A. But by and large, this is where most of our doctors, some of our doctors are going, some of our nurses are running to. Why are we losing our doctors every day to neighboring countries and European countries of the world when it costs us a fortune to train all of you? Why are we losing them?
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for asking, because once we identify a problem and a major problem, we should look for solutions.
Yeah.
And so one of the ways to first is to get the root cause of this problem. Now it's enormous, and it's several factors. We have the governmental factor, we have the institutional factor, we have individual factor.
Okay.
When we talk about the governmental factor, bad governance is a major reason to people moving, leading to insecurity. People are not safe. Lives are not safe. The value of life is next to zero. People are scared to leave. We have what we call push and pull factor.
Yes.
What is pulling people is some of those places are secured. Your life can protect. It's people that are alive that can do things. Insecurity is heavy, and the government is not. There's no hand to it. People are not seeing palpable solution to the job. So people want to save their, they want to secure their life, they want to secure the life of their family. So insecurity is a major one. Talk of corruption, it's heavy. Where our value system has been eroded. Where you exalt mediocrity above us. People that give their time to excellence, that give their time to develop things, and they're not being rewarded. The rewarding system is poor. Criminality above, people that are normal. Abnormal above normalcy. You don't want to stay in that kind of environment where you have spent your time to develop your brain, to develop excellence, and then, someone that is not up to you or mediocre is being paid or rewarded, and then today educational system is down so bad that even people that are not even in the forward of education are getting better reward than those that are in the forward, which is also in some of those countries. They are going to. They are rewarded for excellence. They are rewarded for their contribution to the economy. So corruption, in funding, poor funding, if there's funding at all, and then even the little funding, the systemic corruption is destroying the funding. So there's no funding, and then the funding to help people to pay them properly is not even available, and so it has destroyed the even work ethics of people. People have to look for a way to survive. So people that are committed to government work before.
Are you saying the government is not funding the medical system as it has to be?
Yes, the funding is very, very poor.
Oh boy.
Which is in different level. First, the poor funding. Now the funding that is being released, also the systemic corruption will not allow you to get it utilized properly.
Systemic?
Yes. When I say systemic, there's a lot of factors, human factors involved in getting the fund to the end users. And then we talk about the institution, the poor wages, poor salaries, because people have to take care of themselves. And now that it's even worse with the dollar issue, worse with subsidy, things are not friendly at all when you talk about remuneration. People, poor salary, and then poor working condition of staffs, of people. You know, people are not conducive in the environment. No equipment to really work, to develop yourself. The environment is so hostile. You don't have access to basic amenity. Transportation is issue. Bad road. Electricity is a problem. I mean, you want to look for where things are stable, are better.
Dr. Oderinde, what you are painting now, it looks like a grim picture, like a gloom. Is that the reality everywhere in the country?
Yes. Because
both government-owned hospitals, private hospitals?
Everywhere, because it's a systemic issue. What I'm talking about is not, I've not even come to the health sector. I'm talking about what is affecting the nation. We are all citizens. We are all living in the country.
Yes.
So whatever affects you will affect me. So, and what is affecting this country is a major thing. So that's a governmental problem.
And let's look at the sector, the health sector.
The health sector, the working environment is, the structures are not conducive. If you have a conducive working environment, people will, there are some people that will, they will even stay. It's not everybody that is planning or wishing to just travel, except you want to develop yourself or increase. But if your working environment is conducive, I can tell you people are going to stay. I mean, they work in a cool environment. They work in a, in a system that their brain will become. They're not treating dogs. They're not treating good. They're treating human beings. Their system has to be calm. But by the time you're working, electricity is off. You're working, you're shouting, please give me this, give me that. It's not available. So the system said the working condition is not okay.
All right. Let me go to Nurse Olaniro. You are the chairman of Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, Osun State University, Teaching Hospital Complex. That's Uni Osun. Now, you're a comrade. What will you say are the challenges of nurses and midwives? Of course, you speak for them, you speak for their welfare, you hear them, you feel them, you practice. What are the major challenges?
Thank you very much. One of the major challenges is the issue of remuneration. Now, you agree with me that nurses and other practitioners in the health sector, we put so much time. We don't have social life. And if we are putting so much time into our work, caring for the people, and you are not being paid as expected, you tend to look for somewhere else where you are going to be better paid, and you have a better life for yourself and for your family. So the poor remuneration is one of the major challenges. Then the few of us who have chosen to stay back and take care of our people and serve our fatherland, as it were, we are not being encouraged, rather. Now, imagine people leaving and they are not being replaced due to several factors that have been mentioned. People are not just there. You place advert, you can't get people that will come and take work. So we are being overworked already.
Is it that people are not responding to the advert, or the advert is not just doing what it's supposed to do?
Yes, it's not that
there
they are
bottlenecks that are not getting people into the system?
There are.
What are
you imagine people moving from state-owned facilities to federal-owned facilities because of better pay. Okay. Now, when anything is being awarded, like from the federal people working at the federal institution will be the first beneficiary. So, in that regard, people at the state-owned hospitals will tend to move to federal-owned hospitals. So, apart from the external JAPA syndrome we're talking about, there's the internal JAPA syndrome among nurses. Because you tend to look for where you get a better pay, a better life. So people are migrating from one state to the other within the country. So the workload
based on pay.
Yes, is very important because you have to live. Look, for example, the subsidy removal is biting hard on everybody. Now the issue of training, there are so many things that you are exposed to during your training. When you get to work, you can't find them. But over there, you find that you get easy to work. Now, in nursing, there's what we call improvision. Improvision is that there is a particular instrument you are supposed to use, but you can't get it. Just use something to make sure you do what you are supposed to do. We are used to that in this country. And it's not helping us to develop professionally. What you have learned in school, you cannot practice it the way you learned it. So you get to a place where you can practice what you develop and you find fulfillment in what you do. So these are the issues that we make now and we discuss. My colleagues who traveled, we are discussing. I know the kind of life is living over there. So if I'm not thinking of living, it's a bait for me to have a rethink. That's why we are telling you when we came in that for now you see us, but tomorrow we can change our mind to go.
Yeah, okay. Let me come back to Dr. Oderinde at this moment in time. Sir, just a couple of days ago, the news came out that the federal government is looking at bringing out retired doctors on contract basis. Would you say that's a good move, at least to have experts back on board rather than just the exodus of doctors leaving our shores? Do you subscribe to that?
Well, thank you very much. I would say that, well, that is very good, that's okay, but it will not actually solve the problem.
Not solve
the problem. It will just give us a palliative problem, because find that
is a medical japa palliative.
Palliative, because it's going to just solve the problem on the surface. There are deep-rooted causes of this movement.
What are those deep-rooted causes?
Yes, I would say that I'll talk about the causes. Bringing the retired one is okay, because it's going to help us to still maintain some level of training, some level of experience, and all of that. Even the retired one, many of them, I know they are outside the country. Some of them are even outside the country, in the West African countries. The retired ones are there, they're working. So when you bring them back, fine, it's good, because you are doing what we call brain circulation. Because that's another thing, at least someone that have gone, we're trying to say, okay, please work there, work here. At least don't totally leave. Give us some of your experience, give us some of your training. Now, when I said deep-rooted causes, he was talking about the remuneration, the salary. Apart from the governmental issue, you need to take care of yourself and take care of your family. And you have sacrificed so much when you are in training. You are still sacrificing. I can tell you that the number of hours we work is heavy. The sacrifice is much. I don't want to just, but I know. If at the time, I remember we were working, we would start our call from Friday till Monday, working. It's a lot of sacrifice. And if you look at what you are getting, it's not commensurate. You go outside there, people value health, because health is wealth. It's only people that are alive that can take care of things that can even handle the government. And so you want to pay the person that is taking care of you very well, to be encouraged to take care of you. So the remuneration is bad. Now that the fuel subsidy, dollar issue, oh my God. But by the time you exchange money, you want to disappear. Because the little that you're having is not enough. Now it is even halved or 1/4. Where will you commit your life to? Which fatherland you want to serve, sir? Which people do you want to serve? When they are not taking care of you, they are not protecting you, people are not, except you trust God, that God to take care of you.
You just said, which fatherland are you, protecting? That means at that point, patriotism flies out of the window. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because you want to, except you have another reason. Superior to human thinking that we want to keep you around.
But speaking about patriotism, speaking about training, well, my colleague inched on it all the other time and say, Nigeria as a nation, especially for medical students who went to government institutions, subsidized education, trainings. You will say Nigeria tried, except you're having a contrary opinion to say Nigeria was instrumental in your training. So how come at the easiest of chances, you take your leave and away you flew?
Yes, good. Instrumental in our training, instrumental in bringing us up. When you're instrumental in training your child, you will also be instrumental in taking care of your child when your child is growing, so that your child will not die, to be able to take care of you. So after graduating, you are not, there is no nothing to take care of them. That's one of the solutions. There should be a policy that we keep professionals. Government policy that will keep professionals. I mean, you can't keep them against their life.
Talking about a policy, a House of Rep member brought a bill like a few months ago to say, guys, to arrest this particular situation at the bill of the House, please, fresh graduates who are medical doctors should be made to serve a bond for so number of years before they're allowed to travel out. Isn't that a policy?
Yeah, it's a policy, but the policy I'm going to make is policy that we encourage them, policy that we keep their life, not policy that will keep them suffering. I don't know, getting me?
So that was meant to keep them to suffer?
Well,
that particular bill?
The bill was to help.
Or what's your take on that when you had that bill?
Yes, it's okay. That is, if you have trained people, you want them to stay to help develop your country. That is, if you have given them chance initially, you know, and before you train them, if you have given them chance and say, okay, please, so before you enter this institution, once you finish, I'm going to hold you. They will choose whether they want to sponsor themselves or you will want to. But that's not even the foundation. Fine, you have invested, no problem. But
you agree that Nigeria do invest?
Yes, they're investing. They're investing.
But it seems not to be enough.
Yes.
You feel they can do much more?
They can do much more in the sense that apart from investing to train people, you also must invest to take care of their life. That's where I'm going. When they graduate, their life must not be at risk. That they are not safe, they are not well remunerated. If you say you train someone, the person also will still maintain his life after training, will still be comfortable after training. So there must be commitment, not just in training, there must also be commitment in taking care. So that, because they will give the sacrifice given is far more. That's why in developed countries you don't see people, how many people do you see going to such profession? You're not getting me?
Yeah.
The sacrifice is not from the human side, the time sacrifice, the resources. You are sacrificed free soul and body to get that sacrifice. It's not about just money.
Dr. Adeninde, one will say, you've just confirmed that yes, Nigeria, invest in the training before you become professionals like this. And one will say, when there is challenge or challenges that we are all seeing, and you have stated as well, isn't that a time to pay back? And you have said, all right, you are already doing that by sacrificing time. And that leads me to ask you this question. Tell us, or let me ask, what's your designation as a doctor?
I'm a consultant.
Okay. What does your day look like?
Very, very heavy. I am in charge of the assistant and emergency of
A&E.
Yes, University Teaching Hospital. And it's ethic, being there daily basis, trying to, sort issue. In fact, one of the problems we are facing is, when I talk about the insecurity, the doctors are being assaulted there on daily basis.
By who?
Yes, by people. People come to the hospital angry on doctors because of the issue of the country and attacking doctors, attacking nurses. That we see on daily basis in accident and emergency. You have to handle several cases and you have to be on ground to handle them. So the workload is more because as a consultant, I have to oversee the training of the junior ones for them to become consultants. I have to take care of patients. I have to get involved in research to increase the knowledge base. So it's a lot. And so if I don't see what can pay back the time, I want to find a way to run away.
Let me come to nurse here. Looking at, we've been speaking about doctors, but the exodus of nurses these days is a cause for alarm as well.
Yeah.
What could be done? But first of all, before we can talk about what could be done, where did we get it wrong that has caused this? Because at least I think at a point in time, one of the top doctors treating was a former President Barack Obama of the US, was a Nigerian. And I wonder if that kind of person could have gotten to that kind of position if we had such mighty hands here. Probably the health sector will be much more. But where do you think we got it wrong, first of all, and how can these anomalies be corrected?
Thank you very much. Like I said the other time, I said brain drain has always been with us, but we never paid attention. That was where we got it wrong. People have been moving before now, but because it's a matter of serious concern now, that we want to mitigate the effect. And I didn't mean that we saw it earlier. Maybe it would not have gotten worse. Now, I believe, like I've said, when people are being trained and they cannot do what they are being trained for, you know, before you choose your career, you have interest. And if you are not finding fulfillment in what you have chosen to do, it's one of the things that we want you to seek for fulfillment elsewhere. So I think the government need to make the environment conducive for professionals to find fulfillment in what they do. Like we said, nursing is caring for the total man. Nurses will stay with patients for 24 hours, whether you are running shift or you're on call duty, you take care of them holistically. And when you are doing that, you have to leave your family behind. So if you cannot find fulfillment in what you do, you have to find it somewhere else. So I think government needs to start orientating people on how to make sure that when you are being trained and after you are being trained, you get what you need, you get the fulfillment of what the intention you have before you go to that profession. Now, making available the equipment. Imagine when you are trained as a nurse, you cannot find ordinary stick to check the blood pressure of a patient. This is a patient you are supposed to care for, and then the patient is dying, yet you cannot help. So you are annoyed on a daily basis because you see this is the kind of this person I'm supposed to care for this person, but because I'm incapacitated, sort of, I cannot take care of this patient. So now the moment we find fulfillment in what we do, people tend to stay. Like we are saying now, people are moving. Some of us still find it, we still see the need for us to stay back. So if we are encouraged, we will not leave. We are not going to leave. Then training and retraining of nurses. Now, yes, we have been trained, but we need continuous training so that we will begin to practice along with the most recent way of practice. That is, with what is in vogue. Things are changing on a daily basis, evidence-based practice, and the likes. That is the order of the day. Then when nurses have been trained, it's not enough to train them. Training funds should be available to retrain them. Motivation. Then getting more people, like I said the other time, one nurse is supposed to take care of 2 patients. Now, when you have a nurse taking care of like 20 patients, he's tired already, getting home, at the home front, he can no longer perform as the wife, he can no longer perform as the mother, he can no longer perform as the husband, so he will get tired. Even many people, like he said, brain waste. Even professionals that have been trained, they opt, like I learned sometime, was it in US, a nurse opted to selling popcorn. You know, that is bad. These are the people that have been trained with the money, with the commonwealth of the nation, that are supposed to give back. But for a nurse to decide that I want to leave my professional practice and then start selling popcorn, you know what it means? And that is happening in the country too.
So would Nigeria take a blame for such a decision of such a person?
Yes, because the person is not finding fulfillment. That's why he changed his mind for several reasons. Like you talk about the policy of making sure that the doctors stay for a number of years to practice. Now the policy is good, though I'm not privy to the content of the policy.
It was a bill.
Now, it was a bill. Now the place of responsibility is the place of privilege. Now you want them to stay and work. What are the things that you have put in place to make the work conducive for them? What are we talking about that? What are the things that have been put in place to make sure that as a nurse I can practice? As a doctor, I can practice. I can find fulfillment in what I've chosen to do.
You know, some would say desperate situation requires desperate measure.
Yes.
Maybe that's why that bill is coming up.
But they have to consider us. The government is only considering their own side. That as leaders, we have to make things work. And I think we need to move from being a manager to leaders. Managers want to make sure that things work, while leaders want to take care of the people that are doing the work.
All right. Dr. Adenudi, I'm back to you. Now, we are talking about the exodus now, because it's really an exodus. Now, let's talk about the pull and push that you talked about the other time. What is that pull from the other side? Are you saying a Nigerian doctor will find fulfillment going to Gambia, going to Botswana, going to Sierra Leone? Is it just about the money?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, Nigeria is blessed.
Yes.
We're too heavy. Human resources, natural resources, too heavy.
You know what I'm
There is
asking?
no
What can a
country-
Botswana, what
Yes.
can a Gambia offer?
I have my colleague in West African countries. I mean, you look at what they don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
they have. But you see, when you have resources and it's not well managed, it's as not having anything. It's a waste.
Mm.
We have resources, but it's not well managed. It's not managed. We're having brain for looting, not brain for development.
For looting,
Brain
not for
development.
development.
And so there must be reorientation first for me. I talk about the system. You know, I talk about system because it's fine. The money part is also okay because dollar ratio is on the high side.
Are you saying that's the pull from the other side?
From the other side, yes.
Is the remuneration that good?
They relatively the payment is more. Yes.
From a Ghana,
yes,
from a Gambia?
Yes, I'm telling you. Yes.
Wow.
Because they need professionals to train their own people. And Nigeria are blessed. We are trained. So how many medical schools do they have compared to Nigeria having a lot of medical schools?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So they need us to come and train them.
Qualified hands.
Yes, qualified to come and train them, to come and raise their people, to come and work. And so they will attract you with money. And relatively, so the protection there is more for
Security.
Security is a
So
little more for professional.
essentially, Dr. Derrinde, for people moving over to the other side, it's essentially about money. Is that what you're saying?
Money is involved.
Remuneration.
But it's more than money. Security is also very, very key. And then if we see where we know that, okay, people are in line, I mean, there are policies that we are sure that, okay, things are going to get better. Things are going to change. I don't know if you're getting me. You'll be confident that, okay, let me stay. And in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I think we are on a good road, that things are going to get better. But you are on a road that you know that.
Well, by and large, Dr. Derrinde, all these countries, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, apologies to them for those of them watching us all over the world. And we love you, we respect you as well. But the point is, these hospitals outside Nigeria, African countries, are you saying, do you feel they have better equipment in the hospitals compared to what we have here? Could this be a factor while some of our great hands like you have moved to the other side?
Well, when you talk about African countries, it's not that some do, but not all. The major thing that is moving people within African country, that's moving Nigeria to West African country, similarly, majorly at the peak, is more of salary remuneration. Is a major one, plus the insecurity issue within African countries.
Within African countries,
Yes.
because I look at it, I will keep saying it with so much respect to all these nations, countries in Africa. I said it earlier, when you talk about Niger Republic, you talk about Rwanda, to Nigeria, I feel,
Let me put a dimension. You've talked about remuneration being good. Maybe the girls count the cost and they feel this is worth it before traveling. Talk about security. For a Nigerian doctor or nurse moving to Lebanon, moving to Jordan, is this still about security? Because you know some of those places can just be volatile at the next instance. Comrade, help us out here. Because as is happening with the medical doctor, it's happening at your end as well.
Yes.
If I know quite a few, not even a few nursing students in a particular nursing school, in which when you speak with them, they just want to finish their 3 years. They can't wait just to nurses because they know there is something on the other side for them. There's somebody in nursing school. So for some of these persons who are going out in droves, remuneration security, somebody going to Lebanon, somebody going to Jordan, somebody going to Oman. Is it still about remuneration?
Thank you very much. So I want to look at it from this perspective. Now, if you are being pursued by something that you know can eventually take your life, you want to take refuge anywhere that's available.
That contest is quite extreme. Is Nigeria doing that?
Oh, wait, yes. Now, you are a professional, your life is not safe, your children are not safe. So it's like something is pursuing you. So you want to look for anywhere that's available that is seemingly safe. So for many of them, they have their reasons for doing that.
All right.
I may not be able to do that. For those who are doing it, they have their reasons why they are doing that. Maybe they have weighed the options and they tend to take the one that is better for them. So they can answer better. Why I think if you look at the picture holistically, they have their reasons why they live. And I believe it's because where they are coming from is not better. Because a reasonable human being will weigh the options and look for a better one. So for them, the place is better.
Let me ask you this same question that we posed to Doctor the other time. The federal government has, approved that retired nurses and doctors be brought back to serve. You as a professional nurse, is that a way to go for you? Would that help the situation?
Well, it will help a bit, but it will not solve the problem. I think it's a good point. It's a good start from the federal government. And I will not say that the government is not doing anything, but what the government is doing is not enough. Government need to do more by making sure that they increase the number of nurses that a particular school can train. Like if a school can train, like due to accreditation issues, 100, they can work on increasing it to like 150 or 200. So that by the time they are graduating, we have more nurses and other professionals that work in the hospitals.
So won't we just be training? You are talking about increasing the capacity.
Yeah.
Won't we just be training for other countries to still poach?
If we train for, definitely, these people, they need us and they attract us. Let our government attract us too. Let them motivate us for us to
Because
stay.
you are talking about Nigeria increasing capacity to train for other countries to come and poach.
Yes.
That's a loss-loss situation.
Yes. If 70 people are going and you train 140, now 70 will go and you know that this remaining 70 will stay. Whether we like it or not, there is nothing the government can do. Where government may try to do something, but people will still leave. Those who are ready to wait, will wait. And those who want to leave, will leave. So if we have a ledger, we have students, we've increased the number of students. It means when we have more people going, we have more people staying too.
Dr. Denidisa, with this brain drain that we have in our hands, what do you think the effect of this would look like on the health sector?
Well, thank you very much. The effect is most, just as I'm discussing. One, when doctors are not available, nurses are not available, you are sure that people are not going to get better care. So the gap will be more. There will be increase, disease increase, health issues will be on the increase. And that will also lead to quackery. That will lead to increased debt.
Because I was about to ask that, are there quacks in the medical sector?
Not in the medical sector, but quacks in the nation. Because quacks are people that are not trained. They can be nature above vacuum. There must be somebody is going to fill the space. So, and that will lead to increased debt, increased, health challenges when the professionals are not available. The reason why I train professionals is to reduce the burden of disease. But now the professionals are not even available. The burden of disease is going to go. The trainers that you're going to train, even the young upcoming generation, are also disappearing. So who is going to be available?
Are we there yet now? Is it happening now?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
These consequences.
Yeah, it's on the increase. Heavy on the increase. So the disease burden, we have not even solved the problem of disease that we're having before. Now it's on the increase for us. So the effect is forced on our people. Availability of people to take care of them. And health is wealth. When health is collapsed, the wealth of the people will be affected. The workforce will be affected. And then development will also be affected. So people that should add to the development of the nation, because education increase development. Education, gives us vision. Education leads to increased capacity. But this education, people that are educated are living. So the development of that country will be affected.
It's reduced.
Reduced. Now talk about economic factor that they're not adding to the economy.
What toll does it take on the rest of you that are remaining?
Thank you for asking that question. That's why we are here to shout that people are getting depressed, people are getting overworked.
Depressed?
Yes.
Medical doctor?
Yes.
Nurses?
Yes.
How so?
We are humans.
Thank you.
One would ordinarily think you can handle this.
Depression from low remuneration, depression from heavy workload.
Low
stress.
remuneration causes depression?
Yes. Because you have to do a lot of things. You have to think about your family, think about several things. How do you sort it out? If there are situations in which by the time you are graduating, we have your car, your transportation system is sorted out, your housing system is sorted out. In some of this country, you will pay overtime to secure your house. You will pay for car to secure. What are you going to go and look for God's sake? You are getting out of school. You know that you don't have to think about where to get a building, how to raise the money to get a car. A car, a house, and you can take care of your immediate family. Some will stay. Those that are going to go will be more for increased knowledge, increased diverse skills acquisition, because that will move some people to go. But majority, when they are comfortable, that they don't have to stress themselves to acquire things. In some of those developed countries, over time they can help you easily acquire whatever is comfortable for your life. So the workload is heavy on us.
Nurse, help us, because if we take a stroll to the nursing schools, the colleges, all around the country today, we'll have students in there who are aspiring. One day, someday, I'll become a nurse, a certified nurse, I'll become a doctor. How do we keep these hands? Because 80–90% of them, all what they probably will be thinking about is, let me shall finish, I'm out of here. Are we going to sit down and lose these many hands as well? What should be done?
Thank you very much. Like we have been saying, we need to convince these young people,
how do we
upcoming professionals. We need to make sure that they see reasons to stay. Government need to do something urgent. Like I said, an urgent situation requires urgent attention. Not only protecting the interest of the government as leaders, that we have to do what we need to do, but convincing these people that when you finish, there's a conducive environment to practice. Even while in school, when they go for training, like I said, many things that they are being taught, they cannot find them. So what they have chosen to do that is supposed to give them fulfillment in life, there's no career satisfaction, there's no job satisfaction. The moment we can convince them that things can get better, and then we kickstart that, some of them will be convinced to stay. Because even before they leave, they pass their council exam, before the Nurse and Midwifery Council license some of these nurses, they already passed their exams. They are just waiting for license to get out of the country. So we need to convince them that after you are done with your training, there's a conducive environment for you to practice. So once they can see that, they want to stay because they have their family here. They don't want to leave them. So when they know that they cannot actually do what they have chosen to do the way it's supposed to be done, they want to think otherwise.
All right. Doctor, the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, NDCAN, recently, I think in September, revealed that over 500 of its members, that was the statistics I was referring to earlier, over 500 of its members have migrated from Nigeria to, abroad for better working conditions. And one would say, you have made mention of several factors and many things that the doctors, the nurses are going through. But one would say, averagely speaking, especially those working in government-owned institutions, do you reckon that many persons see doctors as being pampered? Medical doctors, they see them as being pampered, as being overpaid, as compared to other civil servants, that they feel that they are well paid. Normally, that even a young corps member who is a medical doctor, when serving, he or she is being paid almost 5–10 times over than the regular corps members. So when we say, is Nigeria not really doing enough? Yes, we reckon with the fact that Nigeria can do more as compared to what obtains outside the country. But as compared to other civil servants in the civil service, don't you think sometimes it's been unfair to other sectors?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I would say that if it's okay, you won't see people moving. You won't be discussing this. I mean, if they are getting paid properly, we will not be seated yet discussing this. Other countries that are attracting them, the value they place on education and health is more. That's why they're attracting. They are using money or several things to attract them, and they are going. Even if there is money, sometimes you may even look, you push security away. I'm sure that, okay, within 1 or 2 years, let me just gather money and come back home. I don't know, get it. So that means that since we are discussing this, it shows that people are not satisfied with what is being paid. So when you say compare to other civil service, wages are based on the contribution made. Not that others are not making contribution, but you see, as I said the other time, someone that is taking care of your health, you want to make that person comfortable because your health, I'm very sure if someone sits with you that is taking care of you to be, at least to be okay for you to do your job, you want to keep that person to make sure, please just be comfortable while I continue to do my job, because it's when you are healthy, you will do well. So that's why they should be well paid. Because they are taking care of critical needs of people. Just like even the security, they are putting down their life. That's why they call them essential workers. I mean, someone have to protect. You understand me? Someone that is protecting your life. Won't you pay the person properly, using his life to protect you? The same thing with health.
Yeah, and you know, talking about, you just hint at the care aspect, the medical health, definitely the health aspect of one being taken care of, that should be taken seriously. You hint at security. One will say the security personnel as well as not as well paid as the doctors as well, and they are not moving out in droves.
Well, that's why they themselves too.
So that's what I mean. That's what made me ask that question. That are doctors not? Do you think doctors are pampered?
That's what I'm saying. If they are pampered, they will not live. They won't live. I don't know.
Yes,
they won't live. They don't have time for any other thing. You see, time investment is very, very key.
Very key.
They don't need their training. They don't have time for another thing than to develop themselves and say, okay, we want to take care of people. During COVID-19, they were the only set of people available to take care of people who will not die. They are exposed to everything. Even the hazard problem that we're having is every people. During COVID, a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses stopped practicing and shifted to other fields because they were affected.
Doctor, let me quickly add this. Now, I asked a question the other time about the toll, this brain drain, one person having to work, you know, what 10 persons normally should have done. The toll is taken on you. And let me ask in this regard, is that not affecting the quality of work that is being done by doctors? And I'll give you an example. I know a medical doctor who, do I say sadly, unfortunately now, has moved over to the other side as well, just a few months back, who told me that he came, I think it was a chief registrar or so, he came into a shift 8 a.m. on Friday morning, and he left 5 p.m. Monday evening. And he tells me he's a gynecologist who's at the, at the labor unit, women who wants to give birth. And then I begin to think for myself, what would be the quality of work that will be done possibly by the second or the third day? Is this thing not affecting the quality of work being done by doctors? Are errors not being forced?
Yes, it will definitely
And
contribute.
people will have to pay for it?
It will definitely contribute because you don't have hands. If you have hands on ground, you will not kill yourself. You will not do such call. I've done it before. You will not do such call.
When he told me, I pitied him, doctor.
From 5 p.m., 8 a.m. on Friday till Monday. In fact, at that time, we have to talk to ourselves and say, please, let us not die. Let us find a way of making it 24 hours or 48 hours. If you have more hands, there will be less sort of stress. In some developed countries, they regulate the number of hours you can work for effectiveness. But that is when they have enough.
All right. Now, as we gradually coast home here, what do you think the NMA, Nigeria Medical Association, what do you think it should be doing at this moment in time to reserve great hands such as you guys in this industry? Because if anybody collapses now and you take him or her to the hospital and they say, no doctor is available, that probably will be the end of such a person. What should the NMA or what is the NMA doing at this point to solve the situation at this point? No. Please help us.
I believe the NMA and the NAM, my association, they have been proactive in that regard. They have been shouting before now, and they have written series of letters, meeting with the government, telling them this is. That's why we have access to the statistics we are mentioning. If they are not doing anything, we won't have access to that because they have been proactive. They have been shouting, hey, government, this thing is going to affect us. It will get to a point that we won't find professionals to attend to our citizens again. They have been doing that. And I feel the government should respond because all the
Everything
unions,
boils down to the government.
It boils down to the government because the government is about money. When we talk about infrastructure, equipment, it's about money. We are doing our best, we are ready, we are being trained, and we are ready to do the work. But the environment is not conducive. So the government just needs to increase the money that's being allocated to health sector so that we can get, for example, you have people who have interest in one specialty or the other, they are being trained, and coming back to the hospital doesn't have the capacity to set up the unit for them to practice. So, and there are people that have such ailments, but they cannot be attended to, and they tend to move outside the country to get treated. So in this regard, people will not be happy to do that. So government need to respond to the cry of the union leaders because we have seen this beforehand and we have been talking about it and we keep talking about it. This is what we are doing also, talking about it. So we need a response, favorable response from the government.
All right, doctor, let me now, let's bring it home a little. There's these occasional, occasional disparity or scuffle between medical doctors and nurses, and I'm very happy I have you guys here now to look into that. It's widely believed that a medical doctor should head any medical team, by the way, possibly in operations or whatever you want to do. But we've seen and we've had when it appears like doctors, Dr. Derry, they rub it in on the faces of the rest of the team, and sometimes the nurses react and feel like we are not servants, we are professionals as well. Why does that happen? Why do you people rub it in?
You say whether we rub it in. Well, one thing I want to say is that every professional has they have dignity. Every profession has their work ethics. Every profession has job description. So when you say that someone is the head of the team, it does not mean that is the one that contributes every part of what is going on in the team. Everybody has one major thing to contribute. It's just that you will need the coordination of the team. So it's not that maybe doctors want to, just override people. No. It's not that.
But it happens.
Well, it does happen. It happens in every, even within doctors, within nurses. It's just somehow human
nature.
Even I'm very sure in your own profession, you will see head trying to, something. It's just human nature, but there must be proper development of that human nature.
And to the nurses as well. Why do you react that way? An example is not too far off that we can mention, but that's not really necessary. But why do nurses too feel inferior and they react in a kind of way?
Well, thank you very much. Nurses are not inferior.
Yeah. Every
professional want to find fulfillment. I want to practice what you have been learned, what you have been taught. Now, let's compare the human system to a building. Now, the bricklayer will work, the carpenter will work, and other professionals. And I think, like he rightly said, it's not a matter of master-servant relationship. It's teamwork. And in teamwork, everybody is important. And even the maid in the hospital, if he feels important, is going to contribute his quota as expected. And he's going to do it. So I think what I've seen as the major problem, I think is the systemic problem. Now, imagine the nursing in the Federal Ministry of Health, that another professional will be heading the nurses. No, these are some of the issues that will make people to feel I'm not being fulfilled as a profession, as a professional, that I should be able to reach the peak of my career. I think it's a systemic problem, and it's not what obtains in the other side. So let people reach the peak of their career. And like you said, human factor, people tend to react to things differently. But above all, I think we are getting better and we have been relating well because we are supposed to work as a team to make sure that we take care of our patients.
All right.
As the last shot from me here, what does it look like at Uni Osun Teaching Hospital? Do we have doctors who have fled? Or how are we coping? What is it looking like?
When you say
general?
Thank you very much. Yes, we also have our own share of this brain drain. And it's heavy. And though everybody's trying to cope, but the coping mechanism, we hope that it will not get to an elastic limit.
All right.
We hope so.
All right.
But it's heavy on us. That even you don't have, in some areas, you don't have consultant to handle certain things. You have to just, or people that you want to be there, you have to just say, okay, any kind of level of doctor, please come around. Just make sure this place wrong. Like in our own teaching hospital, it's meant to be a training center where you take people that want to be trained to become trainers. Now, you don't even look at training. Say, please, just come around. Don't have any qualifying something like primary.
That's the situation.
Yes, just come. Let's just fix you up. And the person that is coming, you are sure the person, he just want to use it as a stepping stone, is living. Is living.
All right. You know, you've talked about different challenges, stress on the medical doctors, and that leads me. Today is World Mental Health Day, and the theme is mental health is a universal human right. Now, what will you want to tell doctors like yourself, because you're talking about mental health and people watching you at home on this?
Yes, what I want to just advise.
It appears like everybody is just stressed.
Yes, yes. And so what I want to advise ourselves is that we should, every one of us should really, take care of their health. Very key, especially the doctors. You can only take care of others if you are fine. So doctors should first heal themselves. They should first heal themselves. They should take care of their life. Because if anything happens, the system may not be able to take care to the utmost. But they should take care of themselves by talking to themselves and try to relax and have rest. Thank you.
All right. Your parting shot.
Yeah, let me add to that. We just take things easy. The subsidy has been removed. Just take things
for all of us.
Yes, we just need to take
just
things,
for doctors and nurses.
Yes, we just need to take things easy and live each day at a time. And then we'll make sure that we get this done bit by bit. What we can handle. What we cannot handle, just leave it. What we can handle, then we'll do it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
As a family physician, I want to add that people should get connected to their family. Family will help in this period. Family will help.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to sincerely thank you, Nurse Olaniran Oladele Abiodun. You are the chairman of the Association of Nurses and Midwives of Osun State University Teaching Hospital, popularly called Uni Osun. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And big shout out to all the nurses and midwives. Tell them we are celebrating you as well. And dear Dr. Derrinde Babatunde, a consultant family physician, thank you for your time as well. And regards to all the doctors and everybody, the consultants, the MD can't. And of course, thank you for your time today. I want to say thank you for being part of the program today, looking at the Japa syndrome, the suggestion being made by the government to have retired nurses and doctors come back into the system to help the situation. You've heard it from our distinguished guest. The choice is yours. Ours is to have this conversation. You make do of these conversations as well. The program will return tomorrow, God willing, 7 a.m. Please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms, on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And of course, every time we are live on our YouTube page, our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. God bless Nigeria. Femi Ojo is my name. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And I'd like to thank our guests for being a part of us on the show this morning. Thank you most sincerely. We'll be back again tomorrow, and it promises to be exciting. Tunde Ido is my name at Irresistible TD on X. All our social media handles are active. Please check them out at Western Spring Television. We'll see you tomorrow.